Let's play a game. I'm going to hand you two words that have absolutely no business being next to each other. And your entire job is to get from one to the other in as few steps as possible. You can use any word you like as long as it's related to the one that came before it. Are you ready? Here's your word: pineapple and spaceship. Are you feeling a little stumped? It's totally fine. Okay, I'm gonna walk you through this so you can see how this works, and I haven't pointed this, I promise. Pineapple is a pizza topping. Pizza is sort of Italian. Italy gave us Galileo. Galileo was super into astronomy. Astronomy studies the stars, and you need spaceships to get to the stars. Boom, done. 8 seconds flat. Now, why am I showing you this? It's a great question. I use this exact game to help a team of 20 marketers break out of their creative rut and come up with a wave of genuinely net new ideas, not just sort of net new ideas. This like super silly little game that I totally play with my kids is quite possibly, I think, one of the most undervalued things in your entire ad account, and I'm going to show you why. I'm Sarah Levinger. I'm a creative strategist who uses behavior science and psychology to help you get better results in your ad account. And today we're going to talk about how to generate genuinely new ideas for your ads without having to use a computer. The average CAC for e-commerce right now is sitting somewhere between $68 and $84 a customer. That's up 40 to 60% since 2023. Average ROAS has slid down to about 2.87, which if you think about it, it's gonna make you wanna quit your job. This has nothing to do with your market, right? It's not some mysterious like ad account mood swing. I truly believe it's creative fatigue. And I'm not saying that to be facetious. I know everybody talks about it's creative fatigue. You just need more creatives. But there's some serious data behind this and I'm concerned. A single ad now burns through its audience in about 2 to 3 weeks. This is down from 6+ weeks just about 2 years ago. Ads left running at the 3 to 4 week mark can see up to 29% higher CPMs and a 35% drop in click-through rate, which is absolutely terrifying to my intermediate buyer. When your engagement signals weaken, the platform is going to start charging you more per click. Your ads are going to get tired. Your cost to acquire is going to go up. And then suddenly you're going to need a lot more creative to actually do what it was doing before. So as marketers, at least in my view, we kind of just default to doing the only reasonable thing we can do, which is panic. We open the AI, we generate 40 new variations, we ship them, we watch most of them faceplant, and then we generate 40 more. This feels very productive because the number of ads went up, and going up is what numbers are supposed to do. But something has me pausing on this a lot lately. A language model left alone matches to the average. That's its literal job. Predict the most likely next thing. And this isn't just me being like salty about robots. When researchers as science advanced had people write stories with AI's help, the individual stories got better, but collectively they got measurably more similar to one another. AI raises the floor, but it flattens the ceiling. You ask it for a melatonin ad, it's just gonna hand you one of the most car salesman generic melatonin ads in recorded human history. It'll build an ad your customer probably already scrolled past 900 times while ironically lying awake, unable to sleep. Average creative doesn't fix creative fatigue. Average creative is creative fatigue, and recently it's just becoming available in bulk. I recently read a very interesting and odd book. It's called The Goal by Elio Goldratt. Strange little 1980s kind of business novel. Guy runs a factory. Factory's about to get shut down. Orders are stacking up and nothing's going out the door. So he hires a physicist, as one does. And the physicist basically says, your bottleneck is not where you think it is. You've been pouring all of your energy into the wrong constraint the entire time. Cool. That's us, right? We've decided that our CAC bottleneck is media. Not enough spend, not enough variations, not enough automation. So we just shovel money and like robot volume into all of this, and then we feel great because like, ooh, we did something. Meanwhile, I think the actual constraint is sitting far, far upstream, very clearly wearing a sign that just said, you ran out of interesting ideas 5 years ago, and no budget on earth is gonna buy its way past a boring strategy. So you can absolutely put $84 behind a forgettable ad, but you're just gonna get a very expensive forgettable ad. The mechanism underneath this is almost like insultingly simple. The ad has one job only, and that's to build recall. I cannot climb through the phone and physically pry a wallet out of anyone's hands. I've checked, it's very frowned upon. What I can do though is I can make sure that when I do come up with an idea for an ad, the person who eventually watches it feels something. Preferably something strong enough to remember that I exist. So the next time their dog's joints ache or their brain won't shut off at 2 a.m., my brand is the thing that floats to the top. Recall runs on emotion and surprise. The average ad hands over basically neither of those things. So it doesn't get remembered, it doesn't get recalled, it doesn't convert. We end up eating the fatigue tax on every single impression. Here's why playing a game before you ideate will help you generate better results in your ad account. And I promise I have a point to this. Creativity isn't taste. And I wish so badly we would stop using that word. Taste doesn't mean anything when it comes to tactic. Creativity isn't just something that you're born with either. It's something that you can activate whenever you want, however you want, in as much quantity as you want it. Arthur Kessler gave this kind of like light bulb matching things that don't normally go together mechanism a really cool name, and it's called Bisociation. If you yank two unrelated things into the same room and you like force them to make eye contact, the idea that's born out of the gap between them is massively better than if you just tried to come up with similar ideas all the time. The pineapple game that we just played is how you generate these kinds of ideas, but there's all sorts of other games that will do this too. One of the games that I played most with my kids is Animal Mashup. We try and squish two animal names together, i.e. like a gorilla plus a Yorkie is a Yorkilla. And not only do you get like a dog that I absolutely desperately want now, but you also get something actually new. And this is what happens, I think, when you squish things together in an interesting way. When you force yourself to actually come out of the AI ecosystem, sit at your desk, go outside, drive in your car, do whatever you need to. But generating new ideas takes someone looking at things that don't normally go together and trying to put them together. This is also what happens when you try and smash like melatonin gummies into, I don't know, like white noise canceling headphones. You can get a really crazy ad from this, right? I was tired. I was genuinely so tired. I thought it was creative fatigue. So I spiraled into all kinds of solutions. I tried red light. I tried cold temps. I tried new mattresses. I tried sleep masks. I tried ambient noise. I tried baths before bed. I tried lavender. You get me. That I found that I need total silence to fall asleep, especially because the silence helped me focus, right? And I actually was able to get into my body. So now here's my nightly routine. I put an airplane mode on my headphones, and then I take 2 of these gummies to help my mind go silent. And bam, instant sleep. That's a good ad. Like, doesn't make much sense when you look at it from just a structural standpoint. How could we go from headphones, especially like airplane mode headphones, to melatonin gummy? But it's a much more interesting idea, and it's something that's much more interesting to watch. Nobody found this ad in a swipe file. I guarantee you that. It got dragged out of a human skull in real time in actually one of the training sessions that I was using when we were trying to get these games to help people just like crowbar their own mind. You got to pull these ideas out. The reason this kind of like strange but clear idea beats your usual like gorgeous but average idea comes down to one thing and one thing only, and that's processing fluency. Processing fluency means that the brain trusts, likes, and acts on things that it can decode quickly and easily. If you want proof that your brain does this without asking permission, let's play another game. Which of the following shapes would you say is Bouba, and which one is named Kiki? About 95% of the humans across languages looked at this particular task and said that the blobby guy in this particular image is Bouba, and the spiky one is Kiki. Nobody taught them this in school. It's not like we were forced to go through tests on Bouba and Kiki. But the sound Bouba feels round in your mouth. Kiki feels very sharp, right? Kohler actually clocked this in 1929, and I'm going to butcher his name, Ramachandran, made it famous kind of decades later. And it proves my point here. The brain is chewing through every micro signal that you put in front of it, whether you want it to or not. A sound, right? A red shoe, messy versus tidy background, an accent. All of that is being processed by the actual supercomputer that lives inside your skull in real time, way before the conscious mind clocks that this is like something we should pay attention to. A machine that tries to spit out the statistical average of a good script isn't going to pick up on any of that, but you get to. This is also the reason why, you know, your creative is your targeting. That phrase isn't just cute, it's also true. Meta reads the creative to decide who's the entirety of all the creative. Clean background, tiny dog, New York setting, accents. It's picking up on all of that, and it ships the arrangement of your ad to a very specific crowd. If you change the arrangement, you change the targeting. If you produce a better arrangement of these elements, you get better targeting. So be more creative isn't just fluffy advice here. It's literally how you pay less to reach more people. So do this before you even like check your ad account this week, before you go in and try and draft more scripts or make more headlines or whatever it is. Play these games. Try and figure out, how can I pattern match two things together? How would I squish two animal names together? What would I do if I could only describe this with emojis? You don't need inspiration. You don't need swipe files. You don't need competitor analysis. You need to stop handing off the one thing that cannot be replicated by AI, and that's creative ideas. Before your next brief, stop and play one game for me. I'm like 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. You play this in the car, in the shower, over coffee, wherever. Squish two animal names together. Grab your product and try and pair it with like the dumbest object within arm's reach on your desk. Or one of my favorites in here, run like an alien archaeology test. Pretend that you just dug up this product out of a pyramid and you have to explain with a straight face what the ancient people used it for, and then try and use that new idea in an ad. That's how you kind of avoid running another one of these, just like your dog's joints are deteriorating, which I might add is the ad that's probably putting your audience into a coma. We got to turn this into something that humans actually want to stop and watch, and this is how you do it. TLDR on all of this, your CAC is an idea problem. It's just doing a very convincing impression of a media problem. Creative fatigue is one of the biggest drivers behind that like 40 to 60% jump, and the most predictable, least addressed one. Answering it with AI volume is just going to mass produce more average, which we do not want. Cheapest way to solve this is you have got to treat ideation like a muscle, and you have to train it outside of a machine by forcing two weird things together and see what falls out. Your brain is the single most lucrative asset you have, so please protect it. These games are just a crowbar to help you get stuff out of it. If you play just one of these games this week before you go and generate new ideas for your ad account, you're already ahead of most people out there. Real quick before you go, if this was helpful, please do me a favor and like it. It genuinely helps reach more marketers who need access to this kind of stuff. And subscribe if you want more of these, because I do a lot of psychology breakdowns and creative strategy breakdowns every single week. If you want to learn the full system, you can come join us inside the Tether Lab. It's 150 plus creative strategists and performance marketers who are building psychology-driven creative together every single week. This is my full methodology, all the frameworks, templates, live workshops, and a room full of people who will actually look at your work. If you are not on the newsletter yet, this is probably the easiest place to start. It's 100% free. Every week I send one breakdown just like this, one tiny piece of consumer psychology, the science underneath it, and how you can actually use it to improve your creative. Link is below, so go sign up. And that's it for me. Let's go make some weird stuff this week.